The world braces for impact. American warships and fighter jets surge into the Gulf, but key Arab capitals are slamming the brakes, afraid that Iran's missile could turn the entire region into a firestorm. President Donald Trump says he hopes for Tehran to agree to a deal, but warns of a war if talks fail. Tehran, too, says it's ready for discussions, but not under pressure. Tensions now hinge on diplomacy and deterrence.
The order has been given. The warships are in position, but the hangars remain closed. Donald Trump's plan for a decisive strike against Tehran has hit a regional roadblock. The Arab world is backing over the cliff. From Riyadh to Abu Dhabi, allies have shuttered their airspace, terrified that an American spark will ignite an Iranian inferno. Tehran's missile batteries are locked on to over a dozen US bases and over 40,000 troops, turning every installation into a potential battle zone.
30 to 40,000 American troops stationed across 8 or 9 facilities in that region. All are within the reach. Theoretically, not theoretically, in reality, all are within the reach of an array of thousands of Iranian one-way UAVs and Iranian short-term ballistic missiles, short-range ballistic missiles that threaten our troop presence.
U.S. military already has robust air defenses in the region, including destroyers capable of shooting down aerial threats. But Pentagon is now rushing additional THAAD battery and Patriot air defenses to bases where U.S. troops are stationed across West Asia. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, wary of Iranian retaliation, have said that they wouldn't allow their airspace and territory to be used by the U.S. to attack Iran. Tehran's missile arsenal, though battered in the 12-day war in June 2025, is not completely destroyed. Gulf allies warn that Tehran still harbors short-range and ballistic missiles, capable of raining fire on more than a dozen U.S. bases and tens of thousands of troops across the region. Tehran's ability to strike isn't hypothetical, it is proven and persistent. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warns that any U.S. strikes on Iran would lead to regional war. Trump, however, downplayed Khamenei's warning.
Why wouldn't he say that? Of course you're going to say that, but we have the biggest, most powerful ships in the world over there, very close, a couple of days, and hopefully we'll make a deal. If we don't make a deal, then we'll find out whether or not he was right.
Under pressure from Gulf allies, President Trump is juggling firepower with diplomacy. He says negotiations are ongoing. Tehran also signals that it is ready for dialogue. For now, things remain tense. Hopes hinge on diplomacy. However, one wrong move, one miscalculation, can spark a catastrophic situation. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Joining us live from Ankara, Turkey is Omar Özkuzilçik, a non-residential fellow at the Atlantic Council. Welcome to WION. So how do you see the situation in the Middle East with American warships primed to strike Iran on the one hand? It seems that reports indicate Arab nations are urging President Trump to hold back.
Yeah, I mean, the regional states led by the Arab states, especially Saudi Arabia, and also Turkey are quite prone to prevent a military escalation and to give diplomacy a chance. We have seen that in the initial Trump attempt to bomb Iran recently, that Arab states and Turkey were quite successful in convincing the Trump administration not to bomb Iran. And now there is still hope that this may not escalate to a direct military confrontation, but the risk is high, and it will depend on how Iran would behave itself, not only towards the United States of America, but also to regional states. because the regional states also want from Iran a change of behavior. They don't want Iran to go for the nuclear weapon. They want Iran to stop its hostile activities in the region and to end its proxies in the region. So this is a common understanding and lack of interest between the regional states, Arab states, Turkey, and the United States of America. But that being said, the regional states believe that this can be done diplomatically. The US believe no, Iran has to be bombed. And we will see if the regional states are right or the United States of America.
And do you think that these talks that are being held or are about to be held, are they going to diffuse the tension? Because for the last almost 2 decades that I've been covering this issue, I don't recall the demands from either side changing.
Yeah, we had a situation for over decades, as you pointed out rightfully, in which there was actually no real progress. The GCPAO was a progress, but at that time, it led to more aggressive Iranian policies in the region. So now the situation is quite different. Iran has lost its ally in Syria. Hezbollah has been majorly weakened. Iran has very limited influence over Hamas. Now Turkey and Qatar and Egypt have much more influence over Hamas. And the Houthis in Yemen have emancipated themselves more and more from Iran. So everything looks quite clear. Iran has lost its geopolitical approach, its multifaceted, complex security architecture has failed, has crumpled. And now it's on the decision to be made by Iranian decision makers. Either they will continue on the path that led them nowhere, or they will listen to the regional states and engage in meaningful diplomacy and make concessions to the United States of America that align with regional states' interests. But this decision is not a decision of diplomacy. This is a decision of the Iranian state. And unfortunately, let us be clear, it's not the United States of America that has to change its position here, even though the US position is quite problematic by itself. But it will be the Iranian side who will make the decision whether this will go towards a military escalation or not. But here, let me underline, the Turkish government has engaged in intensive talks with the Iranians. And I believe if there was not a hope for Iranian eventually making concessions to the Americans, the Turkish side would not have engaged so much in trying to convince the Trump administration to not bomb Iran and give diplomacy a chance.
Okay, very valid, nuanced points. So how powerful are the Iranian missiles and drones, the threats that the world is witnessing from Iran time and time again? Do you think that Iran can still surprise its adversaries and the world should there be some kind of kinetic attack on the part of the United States, maybe with Israel as well? Or has that been significantly weakened as well?
And when it comes to deterrence, the Iranian side has only one potential military deterrence that they can use, and this is a nuclear weapon. But so far, they have not been able to produce a nuclear weapon, and it doesn't look like they will be able to produce one. So when it comes to these missiles and drones, yes, they are good. We have seen in the 12-day war how they have bombed Israel, but we have also seen the limitation of this military strategy. Because in military terms, if you don't enjoy air superiority, you have a limited capability of striking the enemy with missiles. So this Iranian attitude and the Iranian strategy to invest in missiles and drones have proven in the 12 days was to not be the most successful way of waging war. Because whenever the Iranian missiles were launched, the Israeli air fleet and the satellite systems of the Americans have identified the launching areas, and these missile stocks were destroyed. So we have seen that, for instance, for every one missile that was fired against Israel, that multiple others were destroyed in the follow-up airstrikes by Israel. So, and comparing Israeli military might with the United States of America is completely on a different level. The United States of America enjoys here huge military escalation dominance against Iran. But that being said, the major difficulty is not for the United States of America. The major threat perception is by regional states, because the Iranian missiles, they will not reach the American heartland. they will reach American bases located in Turkey, in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Emirates, and the region. So therefore, these regional states have a genuine interest in preventing military escalation because it will be their lands that will be bombed by Iranian missiles, and then they have to make a decision. Will they retaliate against Iran and join the fighting on the side of the United States of America, which they don't want to? So it's quite complicated.
Right. Thank you so much for all of that. I look forward to speaking to you again very soon as, of course, we're watching this story unfold with each passing day and each passing hour, really. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.